Kalispera, good afternoon, and welcome to this panel on empowering member state administrations to implement the recovery and resilience plans. This is a plan that has been co-organized by by the European Commission's DG Reform and Delphi Forum. In 2020, we have seen our lives impacted by COVID-19, and the economies of the European member states suffered because of that. The European Commission, the European Union put in place an unprecedented support to help member states recover. Part of that was the Recovery and Resilience Facility, which required member states to put in place very ambitious packages, plans of investments and reforms, which they now have to implement in order to have access to more than 700 billion euro. Public administrations will have to play a very important role in absorbing these funds, and we have the honor to explore this topic with the Greek Minister of Interior, Mr. Makis Voridis, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cyprus, Mr. Nikos Christodoulides, the Chief of Staff of the Italian Minister of Public Administration, Mrs. Marcella Panucci, who is with us online, and of course the Director General of DG Reform, Mr. Nava. And without any delay, we pass the floor to the Greek Minister of Interior, Mr. Voridis.
Να ευχαριστήσω πάρα πολύ για την πρόσκληση και για αυτή την πρωτοβουλία της DG Reform. Είχα την ευκαιρία, αλλά θα συνεχίσω να αξιοποιώ αυτές τις δυνατότητες για να ευχαριστήσω την DG Reform, αλλά και τον κύριο Μάριο Νάβα. Έχουμε μετάφραση.
I need a translator. Can you bring me a translator? It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's good.
Right, speak in English.
As you like. Speak in Greek, and
so
I get the translator.
I'll just take the opportunity to thank DG Reform once again, since we are having a cooperation with DG Reform and the Ministry of Interior. It's been now 10 years, and that was really a fruitful cooperation. We worked together in many of the issues that were of absolute relevance and competence of the Greek public administration. A lot of things that we are actually accomplishing now in public administration are due to this continuous support. We thank you very much for that, and I hope that we're going to have the opportunity to organize something in order to show the extent of this support and its added value. Now, going to the topic that we're discussing today, obviously, since one of the key issues that are at stake here, and since Greece actually, the last 12 years, is moving from one crisis to another, from the financial crisis, and then the COVID crisis, and now the energy crisis. So we're, let's say, in a continuous crisis for 12 years, the last 12 years. Obviously, the support that we expect to be receiving through the RRP is immense. Those 30 billion obviously is a huge amount, but the crucial thing here is that it has to be used in the proper way, and actually it's quite correct what Mario said previously. It's not, yeah, of course it's about money, but it's a money for a purpose, money to be used in a specific way that have to leave added value to the effort that Greece is making. Now, one key factor on this issue, of course, is the role of public administration, in particular the role of the Greek public administration, trying to be in accordance with European regulation concerning the use of these funds, trying to achieve all kind of, let's say, regulatory goals and frameworks and milestones, but also how, in a speedy but exact way public administration is going to respond in order to achieve the maximum benefit in the use of this money. Now, what we have done so far, we have actually created the mechanism of coordination. I think this goes a bit back to the beginning of this government with let's say, the επιτελικός, το νόμο για το επιτελικό, the law for the επιτελικό κράτος, the executive state. This law actually created, which is one of the things that we are using today for the coordination of the RRP, created the General Secretariat for Coordination. That's one of the pillars, one of the administrative bodies that they are going to work in following up and coordinating the governmental work as far as economic growth is concerned, and as far also as reforms are concerned. And of course, the second mechanism that we also have, which is going to be, let's say, a mechanism of reporting to the Commission and also being in coordination with the General Secretariat, the RRFA, the agency for the Resilience and Recovery Fund. This agency also, let's say, is the second administrative body. So we have here issues of coordination, of monitoring, and of reporting of the whole work. Now, that's, let's say, it's the top of the pyramid, of the administrative pyramid that we're using. But what's also quite important is how we are going to work with the people who are working in the public administration, who are actually, they are going to be doing the job. I mean, the top is going to coordinate and monitor and report, but there are going to be people who are going to be working and carrying out all this ambitious work. Now, the main thing here is how we're going to motivate them, how we're going to, let's say, try to make them as speedy but also accurate in their work and accomplishing all the targets they have with all the requirements, but also in the correct time, in the proper time. So there we thought that what is needed is a rewarding system. We need to put in place a rewarding system for them. And actually we are ready in legislating this rewarding system. Probably it's going to come by the end of May with our law. We are going to have a new law now for the evaluation of public servants. Now, part of this law is going to be this pilot rewarding system for public servants. It's going to be connected with the accomplishment of targets. Targets are going to be set by, let's say, the administrative hierarchy, but in cooperation with the people who are going to be working there. And we have also allocated 7.5 million from the funds, from the RRF funds, plus another 12.5 million from state budget, which is a total of 20 million that they're going to be used to let's say, to give this kind of reward to 6,000 people who are going to be working for the goals of the RRP. Now, if you, I don't know how much time I have, so someone should also...
it's fine.
One more minute. Okay. So I'd also say that all these things go in connection with the new evaluation system, which, of course, it's much more broader. It's not strictly connected to the RRP, but the new evaluation system, I think, since it also changes the way that we are going to connect evaluation with targets, this is also a reform that I think it will play its role, plus an AI system for staffing level, the proper staffing. So we will have to try and find with this new, let's say, artificial intelligence system, a better method for allocating human resources, and this, of course, goes also to the necessary staffing level for all RRP agencies. So I think those are things that we put in place, trying to get the best results for the accomplishment. So the administrative structure, the coordination, the motivation, rewarding system, the staffing level, I think that's a quite complete approach of how the public administration will, at the end of the day, deliver the effort that Greece is making with the RRP.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it would be interesting to hear the perspective of a small member state, a small administration, how it is dealing with the issue of the recovery plan.
Let me also thank you for the invitation to participate in this very important discussion on the role of the public administration in successfully implementing national RRPs. A very important topic, especially when we talk about Mediterranean member states and the public sector, Greece, Cyprus, Italy. It's a huge challenge. Let me also thank publicly, as a former Minister of Foreign Affairs, DG Reform, Marios, and your team, for your continuous support to face a number of difficult challenges, structural and systematic challenges that we are facing in Cyprus. Your support was crucial, and we are looking forward to continue working together. Let me start with the COVID pandemic and the fact that it has provided, and I will say this was for the first time, a unique opportunity for a European swift and wide-ranging response. And this is very important because, as I mentioned, in the history of the European Union, probably it was the first time that the member states acted united in full solidarity and resolve to solutions with both immediate and long-lasting impact, like the Next Generation EU, which was very important instrument that has put us on the path towards a greener and digitally transformed Europe, where our economies will emerge out of this crisis, I hope, stronger and much more resilient. Without any doubt, it is a demonstration, and I will say in the best possible way, of the added value that joint and coordinated action at the European level can have. And I mentioned this having also in mind what's going on in Ukraine with the Russian invasion and the coordinated reaction from the European Union. Now, regarding the Cypriot RRP, it's important that it has been embraced by the Cypriot society and, of course, the political world in Cyprus, and it widely recognized that the public administration, and that is why our discussion is very important, the public administration is key to the successful implementation of the recovery plan. It's an instrument and an opportunity, I would say, in order to restart and redefine our economy to positively impact the well-being of our citizens, the quality of human capital, and the efficiency of our institutions. The overall objective, and I think also this is a key element, is a change of mindset, I will say, addressing the economy and the society at large. Regarding the Cypriot RRP, the 75 investments and 58 reforms plan to be executed for a total funding of 1.2 billion in our RRP, address the main structural challenges of the economy, and at the same time are ambitious and very realistic. There is another element that I would like to mention. As a result of this effort, the impact on the economy will be very substantial and actually estimated by an independent analysis undertaken by the University of Cyprus is to increase our GDP by 7% by 2026 and create 11,000 jobs, which is very, very important for a small member state for Cyprus. We also hope that we will significantly benefit from the spillover effects of RRPs of other member states, for instance, through exports, which will increase also, again, according to relevant estimates, our GDP by 0.5% until 2026. Again, a significant increase, which does not include estimates of other possible positive impact arising from structural reforms in other member states. I will say that Cyprus was, and Mario knows this very well, we are one of the first member states to recognize the importance of empowering our public administration in order to properly and successfully implement our program. We were therefore one of the first member states to have requested technical support from the European Commission, from DG Reform in 2020, to help us with the preparation and the implementation of the Cypriot program, and we have received and continue to receive European support in many aspects relating to the implementation of our program, and we are grateful to the Commission and DG and Reform. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christodoulides. And Mrs. Panucci, we go now to a much larger member state with a much larger plan. How's Italy empowering its own public administration to deliver the plan? And a warm good afternoon from Delphi.
I'm so sorry I'm not there with you, so please let me apologize with all our friends. But after resisting 2 years against COVID, finally it defeated me. I've read the Greece 2.0 program of reforming the public administration, and there are many similarities with the Italian one, although we have a different size of investments as we are a bigger country. But nonetheless, there are many issues at stake that are the same, and the Ministry of Interiors has emphasized them. For us, the reform of the public administration is key to a good implementation of a national reform plan. For the first time, we have a new method to reform the public administration. We didn't adopt a single systemic reform, but we went through disruptive changes which are combining both regulatory and organizational initiatives and contractual, because we have an important part of the reform which is devoted to collective bargaining, because this is part of our national system of regulating both private and public labor. And moreover, for the first time, we have the possibility to invest on people and technologies rather than cut as it happened in the past. So this reform, we are really convinced that will be very much effective because of this new methodology that we have adopted. As from a content point of view, we are innovating on two specific issues. The first one is how to access the public administration. The second one is competences. As for access, we have completely reformed the rules on recruitment procedures, starting from faster and more simple procedures for selecting people. We completely digitalized recruitment procedures, and we really simplified them. This will allow us to hire people as soon as the necessity and the need for specific competencies emerges. Now, while in the past it took us from 3 to 4 years to complete a selection procedure, with the new procedures we can make it in 100 days, more or less, depending, of course, on the complexity and the level of competencies that we require. The selection procedures are more qualitative. We are looking at the skills of the future, at the future needs of the public administration, also in view of the twin transition, which is at the basis of the Next Generation EU initiative. So we select based on competence and not only on knowledge. As for competences, half of the recovery plan devoted to the public administration half of investments are dedicated to skilling and reskilling people. So we are making a huge investment on knowledge, on competencies, and we want to prepare the public sector for future needs of the country. We want to empower the public administration. That's what the Ministry of Cyprus was saying. It is absolutely important and key. We have both to strengthen administrative capacity and build it where it's not present, especially in smaller administrations. So we restarted a recruiting procedure, and we are associating to this recruiting procedure plan on skilling and reskilling. We innovated careers, both for middle management. We created a new area which is dedicated to middle managers. We reformed competition procedures to access senior level positions. And also here we based the selection not only on the experience and on technical knowledges, but mainly on managerial skills of people. You have to manage the public administration as people do in the private sector, and you have to use the same methodologies in order to make it competitive. We completely liberalized the horizontal mobility throughout the Italian public administration at any level, which means central administration, local entities, and so on. And we also introduced we are going to introduce in a few weeks' time some new rules which allow for a more fluid and also more effective mobility with international organizations, with foreign public administrations. The Ministry of Interior remembers that in Strasbourg we had the opportunity to speak about the Erasmus of civil servants. We really do believe in that program, and we want to start from Italy implementing it in a very effective way. Vertical mobility has been completely reformed. Access to senior level positions is now based on innovative assessments, and we believe this will really empower top managers of the public administration in order to motivate people, make them grow, and help them build their own capacities. We adopted all relevant pieces of primary legislation 1 year ago, although our milestone is going to be completed. The deadline is June 2022, but we decided that front-loading reforms was absolutely important in order to have the time to implement them. So we took 1 year to organize the public administration and adopt all secondary legislation, contracts, and so on and so forth in order to make the reform be effective starting from 2022. All the primary legislation is completely detailed and immediately applicable since June of last year. Now we are implementing, as I said, and we are monitoring and also adjusting the reform. We are really committed to that, and we believe that this time the reform of the public administration will really be effective. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And Mr. Nava, at the Commission and at DG Reform, we always said member states are not alone. So how are we supporting member states in empowering the public administrations?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, first of all, to the organizers. Thank you to the ministers here. If I may, special thanks to Marcella, that in spite of COVID, she is with us, and I think that's very nice. And I know the effort it takes, but if I may, Marcella, that is a proof of the new public administration. I mean, a nil civil servant who obviously works strong for us. Let me make 3 big points. One on values, one on public administration, and the third one on the type of support that we give. So your question of how do we help member states. On values, I mean, the organizers were kind enough in this very room. Before us, there was the Vice President Skinas this morning, and then Tony Blair. So I think we have had a good cover-up band for our panel. The point with the Vice President Skinas on values, if you reflect a moment, twice in a row, that Europe decides to sacrifice welfare to defend values. We did it with the pandemic. The values we wanted to defend was nothing less than the life of the people. So we have taken strict measures which costed money in order to defend the life of the people. And we are doing it now with the Russian invasion to Ukraine, where what we are defending is, of course, democracy, is our way of living, is Delphi, the cradle of democracy, where democracy started and was invented. And even more, I mean, the Vice President Skinas mentioned that probably Delphi is the first European Bauhaus because of the unique mix of ethics, aesthetics, obviously, ecology, and way of living. So the defense of values is, for us, paramount. And it's because of that we have put up a big plan as the one that we are discussing, which is the RRP. This big plan, of course, money are needed. We are all economists. I mean, some of us are economists. We live in a capitalistic world. We know that without money you do very little. But money for a purpose. Makis said it very well. And money for a new way of rebuilding and rebuilding together. And I think this is crucial. If you do this, you realize one thing. You realize that public administration is very much in the middle of that. The moment you come up with a plan like the one we have put forward that has been termed the Hamiltonian moment of Europe or the Marshallian moment of Europe or whatever you want, but in the moment you do that, it means you are calling a lot on public administration. And there you face an issue. The issue is what? The issue is that on the supply side, if I may, you ask to public administration more and more complicated things. You're not asking to the public administration to issue certificates. You are asking to do project management. The two ministers here and Marcella, Chief of Staff of the Ministry of Public Administration, have said it very clearly. What they are doing is project management, planning, long-term planning with a vision. These are not banal skills. These are not skills that you find easily in the public administration, especially in several countries where, let us be honest, in the last few years, several administration has been a little bit forgotten. I mean, I teach at university. I cannot say that the first dream of an excellent student out of Bocconi University or a Solvay Business School in Brussels is to go to work for the public administration. But I must say another thing. I had a PhD at the LSE in the well, don't tell you when, in the 90s, so to speak. And when I had that PhD in the 90s, many of my PhD friends, they did want to go to Her Majesty the Treasurer at the beginning as a start. I think we need to do that. And I think we have been successful in some things, which is attracting excellence in public administration. Look here, the ministers, Marcella, all who have had experience from all over, and now they're going to public administration. We need that to trickle down. We need that to really win the challenge of attracting young talents in public administration. And I believe now we have a proposal. The offer is there. Why? Because, as I said, public administration is not doing certificates anymore. It's doing project management. It's doing a long-term vision. It's doing the things that matter to people. And that's what brilliant young students, once they finish to become students, they want to do. So that's on the public administration. We have been doing several things in the last year. We issued a staff working paper that described many of the challenges I have been saying. We have created a group where we get the public administration to discuss together. And, of course, Marcella said it, the Erasmus of the civil servants. That we'll have to decide the name, whether we call it Erasmus or whatever, but I mean the idea of having civil servants exchanging experiences on how they face these common challenges is, of course, essential in order to raise the ability of the public administration and the capacity building of the public administration. How we are helping member states, Ioannis, you asked. I think we are doing two types of intervention. First of all, we we go basically on the market of expertise, and we take the best expertise with us and we bring it to member states in two modalities. One are the so-called horizontal support projects, and the other the vertical. The horizontal is the one that, for example, with Minister Voridis, we launched an hour ago here from another room here in Delphi, was a project to support Greece for the implementation of the RRP, a very horizontal project dealing with monitoring, reporting, audit, control implementation, management framework for the RRP investment, very horizontal. And then we have a set of vertical projects which go into specific thematic areas, and there we can cover basically all of the areas which are or which were part of the country-specific recommendation. In this country, in Greece, we are supporting Greece with the restructuring of the rail system. In Lithuania, for example, long-term care services. We do more than 300, so I cannot do the whole list, but I want to give you the extent. We have been working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Greece. We are working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Cyprus, and we are working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Greece. And we have been working with Italy, for example, on a crucial issue, which is the organization of the different departments and the flow of information of the different departments. Let me conclude. This is not an easy task, but I think it's a very passionate task, a task which has got more and more importance and which I believe will attract the best minds in the next few years.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nava. We have a very few minutes left, so I would like to give you all once again the floor for a very brief closing statement. Mr. Voridis?
I think that actually the plan does pose challenges. It is quite clear. The challenges become actually from reasonably demanding horizontal governance and regulatory system, quite necessary because we need to know where these money are going to be spent. We need to know that this money are going to be spent correctly. We need to know that they are going to fulfill their purpose, and this is actually for the benefit of the people. So yes, quite correctly so, but still a challenge. And the second very important, crucial challenge is stemming from the need that this program has a very strict time framework. So this is also, very demanding. So I think that so far Greece has done well. We are doing well in keeping all in the proper way. And I'm quite optimistic that this is also going to be happening in the future.
Thank you very much. Mr. Christodoulides, we have a few seconds.
4 very short points. This is a new instrument, so both of us were still learning. So it is very important that there is ample support available from the European Commission at all stages of the implementation. Second point, related to the first one, is capacity building, especially for small member states like Cyprus. You can understand that the burden and the challenge is even bigger. So we need some flexibility and support also at all stages of the implementation from the Commission. Third point is related to what Makis mentioned before, Russian invasion in Ukraine. The planning, we have new implications, the issue of energy security. So we need the support of the Commission in this issue. And as a last point, it's very important for the Commission if it could ensure the exchange of best practices in order to learn also from other member states.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Panucci, literally seconds, please, for a short closing.
Yes, thank you. I think that Next Generation EU and national reform plans are really a game changer. And I hope that the legacy of this plan will be that we have to learn and to implement how to measure policy outcomes apart from respecting standards and accounting rules. This is the challenge for all of us. And the other one is what Mario Nava was saying. We have a vision and we need to implement project management. This plan is teaching us how to do it, starting from the public administration. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And Mr. Nava, the closing word to you.
Two very quick things. One, learning from each other, meaning member states, commissions, experiences, and so on and on. It's new, but we are in the novelty together, and we need to learn. And second, which you have seen on this podium, is commitment. The commitment of member states into this is fantastic. If you thought that public officials would call ill when they are okay, here we have a public official who calls to be okay when she is ill. Many thanks.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you to all our speakers, and thank you for confirming, all of you, the close collaboration you have with DG Reform and how much you believe in our service. Thank you very much. Thank you.